Child-responsive budgeting. As per India's National Policy for Children, every person below 18 years of age is a child. Did you know that 2 out of 5 people in India are children? Having such a large child population gives India a great advantage with respect to human resources for the next quarter of a century that no other country has. However, there are many challenges to realizing this potential. A section of India's children is exposed to different types of vulnerabilities ranging from low immunization levels and poor health outcomes to child labor and human trafficking. For instance, on an average, about 8 children were trafficked and exploited in our country every day in 2021. Governments are obligated to respect, protect and fulfill the rights of children and perform regulatory and oversight roles to ensure the welfare of children. This obligation necessitates governments to allocate adequate budgetary resources for children and ensure that public spending is responsive to their needs. Across the world, child budget, child budgeting, child-responsive budgeting, child-centric budgets, and children's budgets are used synonymously to refer to a policy strategy focusing on children that seeks greater commitment from the state, greater effectiveness and transparency in public expenditure related to children. Let's understand what child budgeting entails. Child budgeting involves assessing whether and to what extent governments are prioritizing children's needs when they plan how to spend public funds. We must keep in mind that child budgeting does not mean a separate budget for children. Instead, it requires the government to estimate the amount of child-specific budget outlays. That is, the total amount being allocated to child-specific programs or in some cases, child-specific components within general programs or schemes. Since different government departments report all their child-focused expenditure under this exercise, it encourages all departments and ministries to reflect upon their commitment to children. Let's explore how child-responsive budgeting is carried out globally. Budgeting for children gained popularity since the year 1990, when the United Nations Convention for the Rights of the Children (UNCRC) came into effect. Argentina became the first country to publish an analysis of expenditure on children and adolescents. Since then, several countries have adopted child-responsive budgeting. Child budgeting in India was initiated in 2003, guided by the Union Ministry of Women and Child Development. The Ministry of Women and Child Development (MWCD) dedicated a chapter to child budgeting in its annual report for the first time in early 2003 and continued the practice till 2008. The Union Ministry of Finance introduced a child budget statement (CBS) titled Budget Provisions for Schemes for the Welfare of Children in the Union Budget Documents of 2008. Since then, a CBS capturing all child-specific schemes and programs of the Union government is published along with the Union Budget documents every year. Here is how the Union government implemented child budgeting in India. To begin with, it mandated all Union ministries to scrutinize their budgets from the lens of child responsiveness and report in the child budget statement. It then directed all Union ministries to appoint a nodal officer responsible for child budgeting in the concerned ministry. Further, it asked every Union ministry to constitute gender and child budget cells, which is a group of middle and senior level government officials from different divisions of a ministry. These cells facilitate the integration of child-centric budget analysis into the ministry's budget formulation process. State governments have also started the practice of child budgeting, and currently 11 states in our country are publishing child budget statements with their budgets. These states are Bihar, Kerala, Assam, Odisha, Arunachal Pradesh, Karnataka, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra and Rajasthan. You must be wondering what exactly a child budget statement is. It is an essential tool in child budgeting. It shows allocations for child-focused interventions implemented by different government departments in a given fiscal year. The Child Budget Statement is a document published every year with the Union Budget titled Allocations for the Welfare of Children. It can be found under Statement 12 of a document called the Expenditure Profile. It has a list of schemes and corresponding expenditure to be incurred under each ministry and department. The list of items includes both child-specific expenditure, that is, expenditure that are exclusively meant for children, and child-inclusive expenditure, that is, expenditure in which some components are meant for children. An example of child-specific expenditure is allocations and expenditures of the entire gamut of early childhood care and education, ECCE, and school education, both primary and secondary. Whereas a state-run hospital meant for all age groups is child-inclusive expenditure, since only a part of this can be considered as public expenditure on children. You can access the child budget statements of the Union Government as well as state governments on the Open Budgets India (OBI) portal. It is an easy-to-navigate and useful portal as it provides all these documents at one place. Child budgeting by the Union Government highlighted in the initial years of its adoption that Union budget provisions for child protection schemes were very low. Accordingly, the Integrated Child Protection Scheme, now Mission Vatsalya, was launched to ensure greater budgetary support for the protection of children in difficult circumstances. A number of such useful insights and consequent policy responses have emerged from child budgeting over the years. We hope this video simplifies child budgeting and you learned something useful today. For more videos on related concepts, stay tuned to Open Budgets India portal.